Hey everyone, I'm Nina Zadeh with Sidewalker Daily, and in today's video, we are going to talk about your Instagram engagement rate. This is by far probably the most, if not the most, important metric when it comes to analyzing your Instagram account. Now, if you're using your Instagram as a business, whether you're a small business owner or an influencer, a creator, anything, a brand, if you're on Instagram trying to promote your services or trying to grow your influence, then your Instagram engagement rate is a metric you need to know how to calculate. And we're gonna go over all of that in today's video. If you're interested in these types of videos, social media content, influencer marketing, all that good stuff, definitely make sure to subscribe to our channel. Okay, so let's jump into the Instagram engagement rate, how to calculate what it is, all that good stuff. So let's start at the very beginning. What is your Instagram engagement rate? So basically, in the easiest way possible, it just tells you what percentage of the people that are seeing your posts or of your audience are engaging with your content. So it's just a percentage number, right? And it's supposed to give you like an idea of how your content is doing on Instagram. Now, just to set the record straight, let's talk about some averages. Not all engagement is created equal. So you'll see as you grow, as your Instagram numbers, followers, influence grows, that engagement rate tends to drop. So you can expect accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers to have a smaller engagement rate than the people that have smaller accounts. So micro influencers, nano influencers, you guys are expected to have higher levels of engagement because your follower count is smaller. So there's an inverse relationship. But if you think about it, like if you see someone, I don't know, like Ellen DeGeneres, millions of followers on Instagram, you may watch her posts and you may engage with it, but are you actually engaged, like liking it or commenting? Probably not, maybe not, I'm not sure. I mean, it's almost like this psychology of like, well, they're so big, they don't need my like, or they don't need my comment. Whereas the littler accounts, you're kind of rooting for them and you'll find yourself engaging with them more. So don't be alarmed. And in terms of like averages, we can expect, so the average across Instagram is probably around 2%. If 2% of your audience is engaging with you, that's considered average. So in terms of micro influencers, we can expect to see anywhere from 3 to almost even 7% engagement rate. So that's people, that have maybe 10,000 followers or less. Then also when you think of people with like really big followings, you can expect them to have a little bit under 2%. So we're talking about those in the millions and millions. So the ranges do vary, but just know if you're hovering around 2% or anything above 3, 4, 5 is considered awesome. And I know that's like a quite small number in the big scheme. It's like, oh my gosh, only 7% is considered good. Yeah, let me tell you, I've worked with tons of brands on their influencer marketing campaigns. And one of the biggest ways that I pick people that I want to work with is their engagement rate. Because I always try to convince brands that I'm working with, hey, like, let's not stress on the follower number. Let's look at their engagement. It's such an important metric to know whose accounts are doing well, like how their audiences are reacting. So if you are someone who's trying to grow your account and want to work in the influencer space, that's exactly what we do. We coach influencers and all that good stuff. So engagement is important. I've actually left a little free gift for my influencer content creators. It's in the link below, so make sure you guys check that out. So when it comes to calculating your engagement rate, let's talk about the big debate. And I'll say big debate because it's in the like marketing world. So right now there's like 2 main ways to calculate your engagement rate. So let's go into the first way with your followers. So this is using the follower count that you have as the denominator in the math equation. So it's usually comments plus likes and plus saves divided by the number of followers you have, and then you multiply that number by 100. And this is really the standard way to find engagement. I'm gonna give you another way that I like better, but let me finish this thought out. So this is the most standard way. And the reason it's standard is because you can do it to any account. I can go on a random person's account, look at their follower count, plug it into my denominator. I can go and add up all their comments and likes, and, figure out someone's engagement rate. And then, there's also free tools online that you can help see anybody's engagement rate using the follower number. Now, people like this method because it's easy to benchmark competition. Like, it's easy to compare yourself against your competitor, right? So don't worry, I'm gonna actually show you using our account, Sidewalker Daily, and I'm gonna show you how that engagement would look on a certain post. But first, I wanna jump into the second way to find your engagement rate, and that's using your impressions. Now, impressions are very, very different than follower count. So like, we have 66,000 followers on our Instagram account, but on a random post, maybe only 17,000 are seeing it, right? So for me, like, kind of thinking of it from like a math perspective, I don't like using the number of followers to find my engagement rate because not all my followers are seeing the post. I personally rather use a metric like impressions, where it's like, okay, 17,000 people saw my post. How many of those people engaged? That to me is a little bit more interesting. The only problem with using the impressions in your calculation is that you can't see other people's impressions, so you can't really benchmark yourself against them. And then obviously, just like Math 101, because your impressions are going to be smaller than your followers, you're gonna have a higher engagement rate. Like, the denominator is now a smaller number, and therefore your engagement rate is going to be bigger. And don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how that looks like. So for this way of following your engagement rate, it's exactly the same as the first equation. It's comments plus likes plus saves, and you're dividing it by impressions, not by follower count. So let's jump in. Let me plug in my phone so you guys can see me do this in real life. So I have my phone, I have my Instagram account pulled up, Sidewalker Daily. Let's start with the first way to measure engagement, which is using your followers. So here you see I have a post from our good friend Anna East that we posted, love her. So let's look at our insights of this post. Okay, so this post got 955 likes, 26 comments, and 37 saves. Okay, so we're gonna make sure we keep those numbers in mind, our likes, comments, and saves. We're gonna add those up, and then let's put them over our followers. So Sidewalker Daily at this moment in time has 66,412 followers. So what we're gonna do is, here we go, we're gonna pull up our calculator. We're gonna do 955, my likes plus my comments plus my saves. That gives me 1,018, okay? And now we're gonna divide that by our number of followers. So that's 66,412. We're gonna get this number and we're gonna multiply it by 100 to get a percentage. Okay, so this post right here has an engagement of around 1.5%, okay? So if we were to do it this way, this is what the engagement rate would come out to. Let's go back into our post. And as we'll see, let's look at the number of impressions this post got. So out of my 66,000 followers, 17,400 people saw it, the reach, but the impressions is the amount of times people have seen the post. So let's go ahead and do 18,475. Let's try the second calculation I was telling you guys about, is finding engagement rate based on the number of people who actually saw it. So we're gonna go back to our calculator. We're gonna take that number. We're gonna do it again, 955 plus 26 plus 37. And now we're gonna divide that by our impressions, divided by 18,475. We're gonna take that and we're gonna multiply it by 100. So this gives us now 5.5%, which is considered high. So you guys see how, like, if we use that 66,000 number of followers that, like, not everyone may have seen, the engagement rate is a lot lower than if you use your impressions. But again, the impressions is something that only I could do and that a brand can't do. So a brand won't be able to measure me based on my impressions because they don't have access to that information. So that's why it's so important as an influencer or content creator, someone who's trying to grow their engagement to be able to know like where they really stand. And the same thing is for brands. Like maybe you think you have a low engagement rate based on your follower count, but you're like, hey, you know what? Like 5.5% of the people that saw this post actually engaged with it. And then you can use that to, figure out your content strategy moving forward. Now, which equation is right, which equation is wrong? It's the grand debate, people. There's no one way, one size fits all. It's really what you guys want to move forward with. Like I said, using followers as a way is going to have a lower engagement, but it's easier to benchmark competition and anyone can look up that number. Using impressions may be a little bit more accurate, but it's harder to compare against how you're doing against others, and brands can't access that information. But either way, knowing your engagement rate, no matter who you are on Instagram, is super important because you don't want to be wasting time on this platform and not, having an audience that's actually engaging with your content, because time is money. So we all know that. If you've made it this far in the video, then I know you're super serious about Instagram, your business, and all that good stuff. I've left a link below to a group coaching that we do, which is about with 10 to 15 other people just like you, and we go through all the sort of good stuff. So if you're interested in applying, I've left a link below for you, and we also do one-on-one coaching. So if you don't want to do a group setting and want to just work with me directly on figuring out your Instagram strategy or just overall business strategy, we can set that up too, and there's also a link for that. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to our channel, give me a comment, let me know, fuel my fire, and I will see you in the next video.